So I'm not going to tell you how to tell me how not to do your job. But I did just want to say that was a great video, Mr. K. Vaughn put
Yeah,
out.
yeah, it came along at just the right time too.
You and I have a pretty adult, mature attitude honed and forged through years of trial and error. So we know what this is and what it's not.
And abuse. Don't forget abuse.
And abuse. I won't forget the abuse. I think what we finally realized is just let let it be. Just whatever.
Yeah.
There'll be an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Just let it
Just let
be.
it be.
He was spot on, and I know it it gets said a lot, almost to the point of where it's almost cliche, but it can't be said enough. Uh, you make the video that you would want to make,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and and then people will find it.
You're lucky if you find a few of them.
Yeah. And then the thing about BookTube is it's the community. You get what you give, right?
Yep. For anybody that doesn't know what the hell we're talking about, I'll leave the video down below. But in the meantime, I'm Paul.
I'm Steve.
And this is Check Your Shelf.
Whether you like it or not.
Right. All right. Well, we're in week 2 of spooky season. I call it spooky season. His mama called it spooky season. His daddy called it spooky season. I'm gonna call it spooky season. This time around, I want to talk about a book that when I first read this thing back in the 90s, it scared the ever-loving hell out of me. I want to talk about Graham Masterton's The Manitou. This came out in 1975. It's the first of like 4 or 5 books in the series, but it's an unintentional series. This book is so good, it got turned into a cheesy movie. That's how good it is.
Full disclosure, I've not read the book. I know nothing about the book or the movie. So you'll get my unvarnished, ignorant input here.
Or as we call it, Wednesday. This is my oh my god, my Tor copy of it. As you can see, it's torn. Anyway, this is the Tor copy. Basically, the Manitou is the story of this guy named Harry Erskine, who is he's a con man medium. You know, he does the tarot readings and he bilks rich little old ladies out of their money and makes a
Aren't
pretty
they
good
all?
living at it. Yeah. And as opposed to the legit ones, yes.
Yes, those are the ones that really do magic.
It's written in first person. You get Harry's POV, which is great because um, a lot of stuff happens in this book that like you feel the way he feels about like when you think it's all fake, and then in very quick order you start to be exposed to things that you thought were fake. So it's cool that it's written from his perspective, even though the first chapter is third person, and it's important as to why, because otherwise you wouldn't know what happened to this poor girl. But this I'm doing a bang up job here.
You're doing
So
great.
basically what happens is there's a woman who has a lump on the back of her neck, and by all accounts it seems like she's carrying a fetus on the back of her neck. Um, but they go to do some X-rays on it, and it moves.
Oh.
And they come back with the X-rays, and they're like, "Yeah, this is a fetus." Well, the girl is like freaking out, so she goes to Harry because Harry is her rich aunt's psychic, and she's desperate, because she thinks she's gonna die and all this. And so Harry tries to basically like calm her nerves and whatnot. So he starts laying out the cards, and every single time he lays them out, it comes up, with the death card on top. He does it like 5 or 6 times, starts freaking out about it. So he gives her some positive affirmations and basically sends her on her way. And after she leaves, he starts to feel like he's being watched. Yeah. And so he visits her in the hospital, and by the time he goes to visit her like a week later, the thing is like huge. It's like the size of like a full-grown baby, you know. So
Well, she was going to have it removed, but she lives in Florida where she's being forced to carry it to terms.
so they try to they try to remove it, and it turns into a whole fiasco, and even the doctor starts to realize maybe there's something else to this, you know. So Harry reaches out to a psychic friend who gets him in contact with a Sioux shaman who this takes place in like winter in New York. So this would have been a good Dead of Winter book now that I think about it. But you know, oh well.
Record scratch.
Yes.
Well, we don't have anything to talk about today.
All right. I'm Paul. Anyway, so the Sioux shaman comes up, and the two of them, Harry and his name is Singing Rock. They basically have to confront this thing that's growing on the back of this girl's neck, and it pops out of her, and this whole thing, it turns into like Ghostbusters proportion stuff in this hospital. Nice. Like I think Ghostbusters may have borrowed a little bit from this. But the funny thing is, like, okay, this is a white savior book because Harry's white, and he is the main, he's the hero more or less at the end because he paid attention to what Singing Rock did. But the thing is, and helped defeat the creature, which is basically Misquamacus. And what Misquamacus is Misquamacus was a 350 years ago, this shaman saw these Dutch ships coming on the horizon, and he sensed something awful about them. So he basically did what any shaman would do, and he drank boiling hot oil, so he died, and he'd come back later as like a spirit kind of thing to get his revenge on whatever the hell is on this boat. Well, we all know what was on the boat, but there was other stuff on the boat as well. There was other stuff on that boat too.
If they tell you during the job interview process for becoming a shaman that that's part of what might be expected of you is to drink boiling like hot oil,
yeah,
I bet they wouldn't get as many candidates for the job.
There would be few and far between. Yeah. So the police bust in, and basically because they think there's a murderer on the 10th floor, and a whole platoon of heavily armed cops go in, and like you can just about imagine what happens to them. They don't make it because Misquamacus is this, well, they call him a medicine man. By the way, this book is not politically correct. It's not, but it's not mean spirited either, because Graham Masterton did his research, and he portrays the Singing Rock in a really good light. And unfortunately, like I said, it's got some savior complex and white savior complex, but it's such a good damn book. So Harry and Singing Rock confront Misquamacus using like every, for lack of a better word, every spell that Singing Rock has in his disposal, while this mutated creature, because the X-rays that they used on the girl basically mutated the fetus.
Oh, nice.
So he basically peels himself out of the girl like a watching, like, say, like a spider molts or whatever, you know. It's really disgusting. It's so gross the way he describes stuff in this book that it's wonderful.
You know, they say every baby is cute, but this sounds like not a cute baby.
Yes, he is not a cute baby. And they come up with this idea that what Misquamacus was afraid of that he saw on that boat is everything in the world has a Manitou attached to it.
Oh.
And the Manitou that the Dutch were bringing over was influenza. So they get this idea to get like a vial of influenza, and the one doctor's like, now there's enough in this vial to wipe out the entire island. So be careful with it, you know.
So be careful with it.
Now, keep in mind, this is the same era when doctors smoke and drank in the hospital. So,
Yeah.
probably right next to the vial of influenza. Well, by this time, it's too late. Miscomachus has gotten too powerful, and he's in the process of summoning the Great Old One. And what the Great Old One is the Great Old One is that face you see on in wood grain. It's the voice you hear when there's nobody around. It's the echo on the stairs. It's the face in the tile. It's the pile of clothes that looks like a face. It looks like a person. And so ultimate fear and just destruction is what the old one is.
Red. Yeah.
And he's described not entirely unlike a Lovecraftian, monster,
Hmm.
and which I'll get to that in a minute. Well, suffice it to say, by this time the influenza virus has gotten he's too powerful. Miscomachus is too powerful for the virus now, and I won't go into how they send the great old one back and they destroy Miscomachus because it's so cool and cheesy at the same time because it's 100% of its time. But it's about halfway through the encounter with him. I remembered because I read this first back in the 90s. I remembered how they destroyed him, and I remember chuckling to myself. I thought it was funny, but it's so well written though, and the way he was describing the great old one and how like he's the voice under the bed and that kind of thing and the face in the shadows is just so well done. It's like all this action is going on around everything and Singing Rock is explaining to Harry about it, and just the way he was describing it is really cool. But there was a movie that came out in 78 starring Tony Curtis and Michael and Sarah, who this was back when, Hollywood didn't let Native Americans play Native Americans.
Michael and Sarah, not to be confused with Michael Sarah,
Not
which
to
would
be
have been an
confused.
interesting casting choice because he was probably a fetus at the time.
Yes, in the 2025 release of the Manitou,
Yeah.
Michael Sarah is singing rock.
He's like, oh, I think there's something bad about this. I don't know. I'm doing my Michael Sarah impression.
It's too hard to do. I can't even do it. He'd make a good Harry Erskine though. He'd be a different Harry Erskine, but he'd make a good Harry Erskine.
I think I
But
know what this is.
yeah,
It's a Manitou.
yeah.
And then what? That other guy that's always in movies, Jonah Goldberg, is that his name?
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, not Jonah Goldberg. Jonah Hill's Jonah Hill as Harry Erskine. Michael Sarah as Native American Singing Rock. And then the dude that played in Superbad, the dude that played McLovin.
Oh
He
yes,
could
yes.
he could play the monster. Anyway, sorry to sidetrack you. The 2025 version of the Manitou.
Misqua McLovin.
Misqua McLevin.
The movie is great, but it's extremely cheesy when you consider like this was the era of Jaws and Close Encounters and Star Wars. It's pretty cheesy by comparison, but it is still so much fun. Again, we watched it when we found out it was a movie back in the 90s after we had read the book and laughed the whole time. And I thought Tony Curtis was a ridiculous pick for Harry Erskine, but having rewatched it, he's perfect. The movie is perfect in its cheesiness.
In the trailer where those cops are coming in, you said it was like Ghostbusters. And in
Yeah.
the trailer where they go, "Who you gonna call?" Well, obviously not these guys, as they're getting eaten up by the monster.
Yes. Now the funny thing is, when I went to read this for BookTube, I had forgotten that at the beginning of this book, there's an H.P. Lovecraft quote. All right, where he talks about Misquamacus, and I'm like, wait a second. So I looked into it, and I read some quotes from Masterton about finding some finding out about this thing, called Misquamacus through H.P. Lovecraft, and it turns out, and I'm not an expert on Lovecraft or August Derleth, but August Derleth is the reason why Lovecraft exists to this day, and that much I'm sure of, because he was busy trying to get people to republish Lovecraft stories, and nobody would do it. So he created Arkham House, and the rest is pretty much, mythos. But Derleth claimed that he wrote a lot of short stories based on fragments that Lovecraft had written, and that's probably not true. It's probably pretty much 100% Derleth. And the quote, which I'm not going to read, because one of the things that August Derleth did, and one day I'd like to talk about him because I do like the guy as an author. I was reading the quote and I'm like, this does not. I can't even read it, because one of the things that August Derleth liked to do was his dialogue was phonetic, was very like wherever, like he leaned into accents, which
He was hooked on phonics.
yeah, yeah. He leaned into accents too much, so I can't read this quote that's supposedly from Lovecraft, even though I'm pretty sure it's August Derleth.
Are you able to at least tell us why you can't read it?
Oh, it's just because. Oh, okay, I will attempt.
Oh, I wasn't sure if it was because it's difficult or there's something problematic about it.
Oh no, there's nothing problematic about it.
Okay.
It's just he writes in dialect.
Gotcha.
When he does
Okay.
dialogue, and
Yeah. So you
it's
need
harder.
somebody-
It's easier to read it than read it out loud when you're
Yeah.
doing dialect.
It's the kind of thing Mr. Peters from Rogers High School, the English teacher, would attempt to do. He fancied himself like whenever he like when we read like Tom Sawyer or Huck Finn or whatever we read. Of course, he did everything in the accent, and then I found out later he directed all the plays.
Yeah.
It was big in the drama club. I was like, oh, this guy fancies himself an actor. So yeah, you don't have to read it. I just didn't know if it was problematic or just challenging to read. Yeah.
No, I would have read around the problem.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this is like the only August Derleth book I got that says like 15 soul-chilling tales by H.P. Lovecraft, really big on the top, and August Derleth. But it should be the other way around. Derleth basically wrote these. Now, you either love the guy or hate the guy. I think he's a good writer. There's a book, there's a story in here called The Shuttered Room that I know Tim from Secret Fire has stumbled across, and I urged him in the comments he has to read it. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. But yeah, there's no connection between H.P. Lovecraft and Misquamacus, but it was a fun rabbit hole to go down for one morning while I was doing research for the episode.
Man, for the longest time, I thought Misquamacus was the kid's lizard in Jessie.
Boom. It happens to be one of the greatest villain names ever. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's like Misquamacus, Fistendonalus is another great one.
Oh, nice.
But yeah. Now, as to why and how this book scared the hell out of me. When I first read this book, I was like 19, 20 years old, and I was laying in bed one night, and there was a storm. This is not fiction, man. This is not fiction. I'm laying in bed reading my book. I got my covers tucked under my arms, and I'm on my back, and I'm reading like this, And I used to have a necklace that I wore, so I put it on top of my pile of blankets, because under my blankets it would tug on my neck, So I put it up there, and I'm reading, and there's a storm out the window, and there's literally a branch, scratching on the window, and I'm just super into it, and I'm reading by my little light, not my big light, and Singing Rock starts talking about the Great Old One, and how the Great Old One is that face in the wood grain. Now, my grandma, her bathroom She had real wood cabinets, and one of them had a face in it. So nothing more unnerving than sitting there on the toilet looking at the face straight across from you. You know, we had this tile in my house growing up that had faces kind of in it because it was crackled. You know, and it's the pile of clothes on the bed. It's that it's that branch scratching against your window. It's the voice on the stairs. And he's just going on. Well, at that time, gravity did what gravity does, and my necklace slid off, hit me in the chest. I threw the book in the air. I'm like, of all the times to have that happen, because this is an intense book. The last, almost the last half of it is Harry and Singing Rock fighting Miss Kumaka. So it's a nail biter. About halfway through it, the tension just ratchets and ratchets and ratchets. And like I said, when Singing Rock is talking about the great old one, that my necklace hit my chest and scared the ever-loving bejesus out of me. And the first thing I did was like look around to make sure my little brother wasn't around, because he never would, like he doesn't watch the show, so he'd never let me live it down. But again, I won't ruin the ending for this book. I recommend it. It's a great 215-page read back in the great days of short books.
Thin books.
You know, now there are, I think, 4 or 5 books in this series. I read the first 3. You really only need to read this one. And it ends on a cliffhanger in a way that it's like it ties beautifully to everything that went before it. I love this book so much. So yeah, if you can find it, I don't know if it's still in print. I don't even know what these cost, because I bought these like for $1 at back when used bookstores were everywhere back in the 90s.
The way you slid in the face in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet with the face looking back at you.
Yeah,
I think they make his and hers toilets. So some people. The other thing that sometimes some bathrooms have is a mirror across from the toilet. Yeah. I'm like, that's just wrong.
Well, to make matters worse, my grandma was like extremely religious.
Yeah.
And one day when I was talking to her about the face that's in front of the toilet in the wood grain, she said it was Jesus.
Jesus watching me poop.
Now I'm sitting there on the toilet and I got Jesus judging me.
Hey, on a scale of 4 and 3 and 2 and 1, where does this one rate?
This is an easy peasy 4.
Nice.
It's a perfect book. There's nothing in this book that I go, you know what would have been better? No. Everything in this book is gold. The way that Masterton writes first person for Harry, he's like a guy trying to make sense out of everything that's going on around him, you know?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. The chapters, there's only like 10 chapters. It's like 18 pages long. There's like 10 chapters. So the chapters are a little bit girthy, but they break up the scenes. And so to move the action along really rapidly. But yeah, an easy 4.
Sounds like a great book.
It is. I highly recommend it. If anybody else has read it, let me know down below.
Yeah, while you're down there, Algorithm. Need I say more? Everybody's favorite booktuber, Michael K. Vaughan, said, don't worry about the algorithm. But you know what? I'm not worried about the algorithm, but I would like other people who like this kind of banter or this talk or talking about these kind of horror books and stuff. I'd like them to find us, and they'll find us, and then we'll find them because they'll comment, and then we'll be like, oh, I wonder who this is. And then we'll go look at their channel. So yeah, commenting, liking, subscribing really helps us build that community that Mr. K. Vaughan was talking about.
Yeah, and again, I'll link, not that he needs our help, but I'll link his video down below so y'all know what we're talking about. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I'm Paul.
I'm Steve.
And the next time you're looking for something to read,
check your shelf.
The Manitou, starring Tony Curtis. John! Michael Ansara.
What does a white man want with Indian magic?
Susan Strasberg. Innocent people tormented by terror, threatened by the unknown, trapped by an ancient horror. The Manitou, rated PG.